we need to talk about a monumental shift that's happening in AI right now. It's the difference between an AI that just creates stuff for you and an AI that actually gets things done. It's the difference between asking for a report and having an AI that not only writes that report, but then emails it to the team and schedules the follow-up meeting, all on its own. This is the leap from generative to agentic AI, and trust me, understanding this is absolutely critical. Just look at the journey we've been on. 2023, that was the big bang for generative AI. 2024 has been all about us getting our hands on these tools, really adopting them. 2025 is going to be about plugging them deep into our systems. But 2026, that's when the game really changes. That's the year AI stops just waiting for our instructions and starts acting. This quote right here, it gets straight to the heart of it. Our entire relationship with this technology is changing. We are moving from a world where we direct AI to one where we delegate to it. We're going from an AI that just responds to an AI that actually decides and executes. It's a huge change in how we think about technology as a partner. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll quickly touch on the AI that responds, then we'll dive deep into the AI that acts. We'll look at what this means for businesses, tackle the really important question of governance, and then wrap up with what this all means for you, for leadership. Okay, first up, let's start on familiar ground, the AI that responds. This is the generative AI we've all gotten to know. So, at its core, what is generative AI? Well, think of it as a master creator. You give it a prompt, an instruction, and it generates something totally new. Could be text, an image, a chunk of code. But the key word here, and it's a big one, is response. It's a reactive relationship. It waits for us to tell it exactly what to do. So its core functions are all about assistance, right? It creates things, it responds to our prompts, it helps us out. But, and this is the catch, it always needs those explicit instructions from us. Think about drafting documents, summarizing data, or suggesting some code. All incredibly useful for sure. But they're all tasks where we are firmly in the driver's seat. This is the perfect way to think about it. Generative AI is like a brilliant intern. It's incredibly fast, super capable, and it produces amazing work based on your request. But, and this is crucial, it then just waits. It waits for you to tell it what to do next. It doesn't take the initiative. Now, let's talk about the next step in this evolution. Part 2, the AI that acts. This is the huge paradigm shift to what we call agentic AI. Okay, the capabilities of agentic AI are on a whole different level. Instead of giving it a prompt, you give it a goal. It then takes that goal, breaks it down into a bunch of smaller tasks, makes decisions, and can even use other software tools to get the job done. And get this, it learns from what worked and what didn't, all while operating with very little hand-holding from us. And this is the line to remember. It's not about just generating an answer anymore. It's about pursuing an objective. This is the difference between a calculator and a financial advisor. One gives you an answer. The other helps you achieve a goal. When you put them side by side like this, the difference is just stark. We are moving from prompt-based to goal-based, from being reactive to being proactive. Generative AI gives you a single-step output. Agentic AI executes a whole multi-step plan. It is the leap from simple assistance to autonomous action. And here's the most important thing to get. This change isn't just about the models getting a little bit smarter. It is a fundamental leap from an AI that just generates an output to one that takes ownership of an entire outcome. Okay, let's make this real. Enough with the theory. Part 3, Agents in the Enterprise. What does this actually look like when you put it to work? So let's take a healthcare workflow. A generative AI might help a person draft an appeal letter. Super helpful, right? But an agentic AI, it can run the whole process. It starts by reviewing data for denial trends, figures out the root causes, then it drafts and submits targeted appeals, tracks the responses from payers, updates the dashboards, and it even knows when a case is too tricky and needs to be escalated to a human. You see, that's not just helping with a task, that is owning a process from start to finish. The impact of this on a business is just profound. It forces us to redesign entire workflows. It could reduce our need for roles that just connect different steps in a process. And it's going to make decision-making happen so much faster. We'll even see totally new ideas like AI agents that are the designated owners of specific little processes inside a company. And this leads to a pretty mind-blowing conclusion about the future of work. Companies won't just be using AI tools anymore. They're going to be actively managing teams of AI agents, each with its own goals and responsibilities.
But all of this autonomy raises a massive question. Part 4, governance. Because with this much power, we have to talk about responsibility.
Leaders need to be asking these questions, like right now. Who audits the decisions an AI makes? How do we guarantee it's compliant with rules like HIPAA or GDPR when it's acting on its own? What does human in the loop even mean when the loop is moving at the speed of a machine? And at the end of the day, who is accountable when something goes wrong?
This really reframes that whole AI is replacing humans debate, doesn't it? The future isn't about replacement. The most critical human skill of the future will be building the frameworks and providing the oversight to govern these powerful AI systems safely and effectively.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the leadership imperative. Because this isn't just about making things a little more efficient, it's about a massive strategic advantage. The stakes here are incredibly high. Look, companies that stop at generative AI will see some nice efficiency boosts, no doubt. But the companies that truly master agentic AI, those are the ones that will unlock a real, lasting strategic advantage.
This is the ultimate takeaway. The real shift we're talking about here is moving beyond simple productivity games and heading toward a brand new era of enterprise autonomy.
It really all boils down to this. Generative AI answers your questions. Agentic AI achieves your goals.
And that leaves all of us with the one question that really matters. We know this technology is coming, and we know what it can do. The real question is, are we ready to give AI this level of responsibility in our organizations?